Learning Mishna Nedarim, Parak Beis, Chapter 2, Mishna Beis, Mishnah 2. Okay. Now, some of these examples are going to sound similar to some of the things mentioned before, but the nuances, the little bit change of the order or the form of how how this person expresses himself, therefore gives it another connotation. So the first example is carbon loy oichalach. Now again, if he is using the word carbon, then what is he trying to do? It would seem like he's trying to make a nether, right? Because when you link to a carbon, that is one of the ways that you make a nether. But here, his wording is a little bit different than usual. Here he says, carbon loy oichalach, which means carbon I will not eat of yours. So you might think that should be understood to say that which is yours is a carbon to me. But that's not the connotation of when he forms his declaration in this way. When he says carbon lo yechalach, a carbon I will not eat of yours, is understood to mean by the life of a carbon I swear that I will not eat your food. Carbon lo yechalach, by a carbon I will not eat of yours. In essence, the expression is an expression of a shvua, of an oath. And so number one, that means he's not expressing a nether. If he's not expressing a nether, it's not going to be a nether. The point is also that it's not even a valid oath, because a valid oath isn't by the life of a carbon. It's whether expressed explicitly or implicitly, it means by the life, by the existence of Hashem. So if you say by the life of a carbon, I'm not going to eat from yours, that's not a valid oath. So basically, as we're going to see, that this expression has no effect whatsoever. The next example is, there's a question whether this word do you have that word, hey, aleph, hey, carbon, or just says carbon? How do you have it in there? The next example. No, before that.
Carbon shakhalak.
Okay, there's no word before the word carbon.
No.
Okay. So there is a question about how the text should read. By the way that you have it in your Mishnayos, and here the word is in brackets, so we'll keep it like without that word, carbon she'echalach, which again, literally means a carbon that I will eat of yours. Now, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean what I would eat of yours should be like a carbon? And again, he is forbidding the other person's food on himself. The answer is no. Again, it has a connotation of the life of a carbon, that which I eat of yours, which is understood to mean, by the life of the carbon, I swear that your food is forbidden to me. And therefore, again, he didn't make a nether, he didn't make a shvua. The Bar Tanura previously said that the word hey, which would mean the carbon, the carbon, the word has to be added because then it would be too similar to a expression we had before that is a valid nether. But again, the way the Mishnah is laying this declaration out, it's understood to mean by the life of a carbon, your food is forbidden to me. Loy carbon loy yoichalach. Or if he says, again, let's just get the words, it is not a carbon that which I do not eat of yours. You get that? It is not a carbon that which I do not eat of yours. Okay? So now, the Mishnah says mutter. On all these three expressions, the food remains permissible. So the first two, we explained that the food is permissible because it's not a valid nether, it's not a valid shvua. The third statement, the problem is like this. The third statement is ineffective because it refers only to that which he will not eat. Okay? He's saying, not a carbon that which I will not eat. Not a carbon, that which I will not eat. That means carbon that I would eat. Right? Although the third statement, that which I do not eat of yours is not a carbon, implies that which I do eat of yours is a carbon. Right? That it's implicit, right? If the wording is not a carbon, what I don't eat of yours, that implies what I do eat of yours is like a carbon. And that, if you were to say that expression straight out, carbon lo yoichalach, a carb. Well, actually, okay, that's the part of the question here. But the point is that if this person, by saying not a carbon, that which I don't eat of yours, that means that which I do eat of yours, meaning, from the from two opposites, you get it, from two negatives, you get a positive, right? So the two negatives of not a carbon that I don't eat of yours means what I eat of yours should be a carbon to me. And that would be, and that would seem that would express seemingly a valid nether. However, as I explain here in the notes, our Mishnah follows the view of Rabbi Meir, who holds that a negative cannot be assumed to imply a positive. Just because you say no about this doesn't mean that you should assume the opposite is going to be that the positive is going to be otherwise. That a negative cannot be assumed to imply a positive, or vice versa. Rather, positive must be stated explicitly. You just because he said not carbon that I will not eat of yours, not give you a right to say, well, that means, or that's as if you're saying the opposite. What I do eat should be a carbon. According to Meir, you can't do that. And therefore, that's who our Mishnah follows, and therefore the Mishnah says mutter, it is permissible. Now, now the Mishnah continues. Shavua lo eichalach. If a person says a shavua, I will not eat of yours, which basically means he's saying that I make a shavua that I will not eat your food. Okay? Or he says shavua she'eichalach. Or he says shavua that I will eat of yours, which is understood to mean I hereby make a shavua that I eat your food, that if I eat your food, it shall be forbidden to me. We're going to have to elaborate on that soon. But just keep it as it is right now. Shavua she'eichalach, right now, this expression is meant to say that if that which I do, that I hereby make a shavua, that if I eat your food, it shall be forbidden to me. That's what it means right now. We'll talk about why it means that way. Lo shavua lo yeichalach, not a shavua that I will not eat of yours. Usher. In all these cases, all these three cases are going to be forbidden. Okay? Now, let's just take the first case right now. Shavua lo eichalach. That was the expression. A shvua, I will not eat of yours. That is your standard way of making a shvua. There is just basically nothing wrong with that first expression. It is the way that you make a shvua. This way you make an oath. That's the first one. Now, the second one, that's more problematic. Because the second one, what are the words? Shavua she'eichalach. A shvua that I will eat of yours. Doesn't that sound like you're making a shvua that I will eat? So therefore, the way this is explained is in the following way. Okay? It's talking about like this. A person, it's a very specific case. The case is where one person was offering his food to another and trying to persuade him to eat. Like, here, no, S. He's trying to get him to eat. The second person keeps refusing to eat. And he says, no, it's okay. And the first guy continues, badgering him. No, eat this. So what does he say? Finally, he gets frustrated and he says, Shavua she'eichalach. In that context, when you say those words, you mean a shvua be upon me if I eat it. Meaning, although he didn't mention any kind of negative, it's understood if the guy's badgering him, eat. And he says no, and the guy keeps badgering him. And he says, Shavua she'eichalach. It means to say that if I eat that, it's going to be a shvua upon me, which is a way of saying that I'm making a shvua that I'm not going to eat. So leave me alone. So even though the words of the shvua itself don't have that connotation on their own, but in the context that the Mishnah is talking about, it's clear that's what he means to say, that he's making a shvua that he shouldn't eat it. Okay. We'll continue from here tomorrow. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Rabbi. I mean, the head is